Welcome to another episode of Living Fully Fit with Coach AJ. Here in this segment, we're going to be looking at leadership. If you like content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button to receive more updates of content just like this that will help empower you to be the best version of yourself. And also hit a like, share with someone else, and hit the alert button to get alerts of new content being posted on here regularly. Let's jump in. And we're looking at leadership. We're going to focus strongly on empowering leadership here. And what does that mean? We get caught up in the idea of leadership, of being the boss, of giving tasks, of being in some kind of role or rank or position. And I think a lot of times it's so easy for leaders to get hyper-focused on certain things and forget the broader picture. And what we need to do in any form of leadership, any position you're in, any kind of realm you lead, you have to be overly observant and look beyond your tunnel vision and the scope of what you think is important. If you really want to be an effective leader and a leader that really helps create a healthy environment for your subordinates, but also for the people you work with, you have to constantly work at your leadership style. So we're going to, again, look at empowering leadership. We need to be the type of leader that we also wish we had, or maybe we do have. But we need to get away from being on this pedestal of rank and position and allow ourselves to be humble enough to say, you know what? My role isn't just a supervisory role. My role isn't to be just a boss or a manager. My role is to help replicate myself to empower others to be better than me. My role is not just to replicate myself, but also to empower others to do amazing things, not just to make me look good, but to get them ready for taking over my position and higher. And leaders don't do this a lot of times. I think we get into this role of position and we focus only on the position. We focus only on the tasks that we have ahead of us and in front of us. What we need to do is we need to step back a little bit and look at the broader scope of what we do as leaders, not just in the tasks we have to get accomplished, but how we do those tasks and how we empower others to accomplish the tasks. We need to look at how we better talent management others, how we manage their skill set, how we manage their gifts, how we manage their strengths, but also how we empower them to sharpen their weaknesses, to work on their weaknesses, but really to hone in on their strengths. So many times it's easy to look at the tasks ahead of us and just assign tasks and delegate, without really recognizing, does this delegation of this task to this person fit their strength, and will it help really better the organization and what we have to get done? Because I think you're going to set people up for failure when you don't properly assign the right task to the right person. And you have to also look at, well, if I'm assigning this task, am I setting up this person for success or failure? Am I giving them enough information to really be successful in this task? Am I providing good guidance? Am I providing good direction? And am I empowering them to be better? Am I giving them enough left and right limits to succeed and fail? And it's okay for your person to fail at certain things as long as you're willing and able to coach them along the way. So many leaders now aren't coaching their subordinates. They give them a task, they don't do it right, and then they kind of chastise them or correct them and say, hey, you didn't do this right. Why didn't you do it right? Instead of saying, hey, I noticed you struggled with this. How can I help you not struggle with this? What could I have done better as a leader, as a supervisor, whatever position you're in, to help you succeed so that we can help this organization succeed? And a lot of leaders don't do that. They shoot out this shotgun blast of information. Okay, go get it done. Here's the deadline. Get it done. Bye. And then they get upset or frustrated when that person didn't do it the way they wanted it done, but they never communicated how they wanted it done. And we need to get away from that kind of mentality as a leader. We have to be willing to take the time and coach and shape and mentor leadership. But the biggest one is empowering leadership, empowering people to use their creative juices to get things done, and not in the way we want it done, but in a way this person can utilize what skill set and talent they have. It's not about the rank or position you're in. It's not about that. It's not about you staying in your task-saturated version of how you should lead. It's about, okay, here's what we need to get done. Who is the best person for this job? Who can get this done right and get it done in a way that's really going to benefit the organization? If you're stuck in this pedestal mindset and if you forget how you got there and you miss out on the opportunities afforded you, you're going to miss out on awesome opportunities of coaching and mentoring. That's what leadership is about. Leadership is a privilege. It's a responsibility you have, not just to give guidance, but to empower others to replace you and outperform you. If you're the kind of leader that gets jealous or looks at them in a way like, well, you're making me look bad by making yourself look better, you're in the wrong position. You should not be in leadership. You're not a leader. You're honestly, a counterproductive leader, a toxic leader. And honestly, you should empower others to outperform your expectations. But they can only outperform your expectations when you give them that freedom to do so. And we need to get away from this. I see this so much in the military. I saw this in the ministry. I've seen this in corporate America, where we just give them their left and right limits. And it's a very small frame, a box, honestly. It's a very small box of what they can do in this little box. And it stifles creativity. It stifles innovation. And it stifles especially productivity. What person wants to go out of their way when they're confined in the small box of what they're able to do to get the job done? Now, granted, we shouldn't be doing anything illegal or immoral or unethical, but we should be empowering people to think outside the realm of the box. We see this in Army regulation. I see this in corporate structure. We need to look outside of what used to work, outside of what this is how it's always been done. So obviously it works. And I read in this book, it's a great book. It's about what got you here won't get you there. And it's reality. What got you to this sort of success or productivity won't get you to the next level of it. And what gets us out of that mindset and mind frame, that constrained form of thinking, is allowing people and empowering people to think outside the box. This starts with getting out of that tunnel vision, out of the boss role and into more of a leader and empowering leader role. If you're not an empowering kind of leader, then you're just a boss. Then you're just a supervisor. You're just checking the block of your role. And that is not what leadership is. This starts with, honestly, you getting outside of yourself, humbling yourself and saying, you know what? I don't have all the answers. I don't know all the things and tricks and bells and whistles. I'm going to trust this person, allow them to have the freedom to fail. That's what leaders tend to forget. We need to give our subordinates, we need to give our coworkers even the freedom to fail. And through that failure, we can instruct and redirect. We can give them the lessons learned from the failure, and that way they become even better. Even if we know the answer, we know what right looks like a lot of times, we want it done in a certain way, we have to give people the freedom to try something outside of the realm of normalcy and try something that's actually beneficial and might be better than you've ever done before. You should place yourself in a position of an encourager, of a cheerleader, and a motivator, but especially place yourself in the position of a coach. Every leader should be a coach. Every leader should not just be, here's your tasks, go get it done, here's the deadline, bye, see ya. That's so dismissive. It's so disconnected. You're not building trust. You're not building relationships. All you're building is a corporate structure that's destined to fail. Because when you have that kind of structure, you're destined to fail because you're removing creativity and innovation from that position. If you're only providing tasks, if you're only providing criticism, if you're only providing a list of delegation duties or a delegation of duties, You're going to be stuck in the boss mindset. You have to get outside of that. So how do you empower? I would say this. Let's say you're starting your week. You know these tasks have to get done. What you should do and what you need to do is look at the tasks. Look at the strengths of your personnel. You should know that. If you don't know that, why are you in that position? If you don't know the strengths and weaknesses of the people that work under you or with you, then why are you in leadership? Why are you in that role? If you're not willing to really investigate and dig deep to see how people function, how people work, and what they can do and what they can bring to the table, then you're missing a great opportunity to really benefit from their skill set and from the gifts of your subordinates. So look at that list, your tasks. You got a task from your boss. You know the deadlines. You know what needs to get done. You know the priorities. And you should be able to prioritize it correctly in a way that doesn't put all this undue stress. We need to get this done this week. When in all reality, you don't need to get done to the end of the month. You should be able to prioritize, okay, here's the things that we know needs to get done, but here's the line of priority. And now I know, okay, this task, this person can get this done because they excel in, let's say, Excel as a great example, right? Play on words there. They excel in Excel. And they're really good at spreadsheets and databases. I know this person should do this because this other person doesn't translate with them. They're not really good at Excel. You shouldn't be challenging them in that aspect if you want a great product. You know this person is great at it. Propel them to be great, but also tag that person who's not great to learn from the other person. Don't throw this big project knowing that this person will inevitably fail because that is not their strength. Yeah, same goes with like teaching and instructing. You know, this one person is great at instructing others. Then you should delegate a instruction to this person to instruct others to be better at whatever task it is. Why put someone who is not good at public speaking, who stutters, has terrible speaking engagements, they're not good at talking in front of crowds, why would you put them as your main person to brief or instruct? Now, granted, they should still learn, so they should tag along with that other person who's good at it, and that's how you tap into your talent, but you also sharpen that person who lacks in that. That's great empowering of leadership. But not just that, you have to be able to listen to your subordinates and to your coworkers and to the people on your team and see what they're saying. Hey, if you hear your subordinates or the people that work with you on your team and they tell you, hey, I observe this, I see this about our organization or how we manage or how we do things, you should be willing to say, oh, let me do some investigation on that. Let me dig deep into this. Let me research this. Because if you just blow it off like, no, I don't see that. What are you talking about? We're doing things great. The way I see it, we're great. Because no one complains. But they're seeing it because they deal with it on a daily basis. They're in the weeds. They're in the fight. You should take note of that. Observe that yourself. Take the time to observe and to take what they're saying and try to implement changes based off what they're saying and empower them to help implement those changes. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that in organizations like business. We don't do that in organizations of the military. And we definitely don't do that in organizations of the church. We typically just say, well, I see it this way. This is my vision. This is my direction. And we're going this way. Y'all better follow along. Jump on board. But if you're always steering and you're not paying attention to the details of your ship, you're going to miss out on opportunities of really honestly empowering productivity and innovation. As a leader, we need to get away from the tunnel vision of what we think is important, what we think we should be doing, of just checking the block and just knocking out tasks. If you're just knocking out tasks, you're missing out on opportunities to really grow and evolve as an organization. Leadership isn't about the position you're in. Leadership isn't about how you can look good or how your organization looks good. Leadership is about how you make your people feel good about what they're doing. They should be able to be excited knowing that Their ideas are considered. Their ideas are understood. Their ideas can be empowered to be initiated and cultivated into the culture. If you're not doing that, if you're not building that kind of culture in your organization for innovation, creativity, and movement, then honestly, why are you in that position? Because position and rank does not make you a leader. Position and rank does not make you someone who's effective. Position and rank, yeah, you might have moved up on the ranks. You might have reached that CEO status or whatever, or managerial status or whatever it is. That doesn't make you an automatic leader. And yes, people are following you because you know what? They don't want to lose a job. They don't want to get in trouble. They want to move up too. But if they're not following you because of trust and because you have empowered them, then they're not following you because you're an effective leader. They're following you out of fear. They're following you out of obligation, not because they believe in what you have to bring to the table. And honestly, if you really want to see your organizational structure thrive, not just get by, not just do great things, but thrive, go beyond the expectation to grow past what you see, you're going to really need to hone in humility and empower people that might have better ideas than you. Just because you're in leadership doesn't mean all your ideas are great. Just because you're in leadership doesn't mean all your ideas are the right idea. The best ideas come from people who are outside of yourself sometimes, outside of the realm of what you think is normal or what you think has worked in the past. What you think has worked in the past might not work in today's culture, today's technology, today's mindset, and the way things are moving, because we're ever moving and ever evolving. The world around us is changing. And if you're not changing with it, if you're not allowing people to be empowered to change with it, to come up with new ideas and new methods to get things done, then you're missing out on great opportunities to really be effective as a leader. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're in any sort of leadership position, if you're in any sort of role or any sort of authority or rank structure, then look beyond your nose. Look beyond that computer screen, that meeting you have to go to, what tasks you see as important or as vital, and see what else is there that is vital to this organization besides what I just deem as worthy. When you do that, not only are you going to help benefit your organization in a way that's going to help really grow it, but it's also going to help strengthen your team. What we have to remember is not just the empowerment of doing things, but then recognizing when those things are done well. I think it's very easy to just get the credit. I see this all the time with leaders. Their subordinates, their people do great things. They're knocking things out. They're making things happen. But then when credit is given from the big boss, it's usually given to that next boss, that manager. Hey, great job. I'm so glad you did this. And they just like, oh yeah, thanks. Instead of like, you know what? It wasn't me. It was so-and-so. They came up with this themselves. I had nothing to do with this. I just gave them the left and right limits, and they just kicked it, and they took it further than I wanted, and it's amazing. When we do that, imagine how much more empowered that subordinate will become to do even greater things. Like, wow, you recognize this? Thank you. You put me in for this recognition, this award, this great evaluation, this great review. Thank you, because now you see that I'm worth something. I feel worthy. I feel empowered to do even more because you're recognizing that I have this gift. Imagine the productivity level of your organization increase when you do that. And we don't do that many a times. So if you're in leadership, start getting outside of yourself. Step away. Start going and talking to the people that work with you. Ask questions, not just in the organizational structure, but personally. Get to know your people personally. You need to start looking at what their gifts are, how they tick, how they work, what excites them, what motivates them, how they move, how they grow, how they learn, how they take the time or whatever it is. And honestly, if you don't do that, you're missing out. You're missing out on so many amazing opportunities to not only mentor and coach, but to build that bridge of trust. Because unless you have that strong bridge of trust, that foundation in your organization, you'll never see it thrive. You might see it get by. You might see it honestly get things done and it looks good. But if you really want your organization to thrive, start learning about how you empower others. Anyways, hope this helps you as you look at developing your leadership skill, as you look at empowering leaders in your organization. Because as a leader, if you're not helping others become leaders just like you or greater than you, then what are you doing? Thanks for watching another episode of Living Fully Fit. And again, if you like content like this, make sure to subscribe down below, hit the thumbs up and like, and don't forget to share this with someone who's in leadership as well. And remember, you as a leader have the power to empower others.